Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. We are going to be making this beautiful outfit for my daughter. This is going to be a three-part series. Part 1 is the dress, which is this one. Part 2 will be the hijab, and part 3 will be the bow. They will all be linked down in the description. Now I am recycling my old bati, and if you don't have a bati, the fabric type that you will need is called rayon, and you will need about 2 yards. If you haven't already, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on that notification. I post sewing tutorials for everything kids and modest clothing. Where you need to measure, how you need to measure, and how much you need to measure, it's all being demonstrated on the screen. Comment questions and concerns, leave them down in the comments. Also, if you want me to make any specific video tutorial, also leave it down in the comments and I'm going to add it on my schedule for me to make next. My daughter is 2, she's about to be 3 in a month, so according to your child, just follow the demonstrations on the screen. Now we're going to connect all the dots together. Now when you get to the armhole, do you see how it is an L shape? We're going to curve it a bit to take out that L shape. Now this part right here, we're going to extend it all the way to the bottom. When you're cutting along the trace that you have made, just make sure you leave at least 1 inch for seam allowance. I want to add elastic to the waist area of the dress to make it look like this. So we're going to measure again from the shoulder to the waist. We're going to mark that all the way across. Make sure you also do it to the other piece. Now for the elastic, what you're going to do is just take one, hold it in one end and stretch it all the way to the other while you are stretching it. Then you will let it go and basically duplicate the length that you hold, and that would cover the dress all the way around. For sewing, you're only going to sew the shoulders, but the sides, you're only going to sew this side, and this side, you're not going to sew. Put that aside. We're going to move on to the hands. Measure your child's length, fold it in 4. Then we're going to take the dress to measure the armhole, trace that, and then cut it all the way out. Adding elastic around the elbow, measure from the shoulder to the elbow, and this is what I'm doing here to add the elastic. Before you add the elastic to the hands, we are going to connect the hands to the dress. And remember, both shoulders are sewn in. One side is sewn and one side is not. All right, so all we did is sew around the arms here. Remember, this side is sewn and this side it is not sewn. All right, back to the hands. We're going to put in the elastic. Remember that line that you was drawing earlier? Now you're going to sew the elastic on that line. Make sure you are pulling and sewing, pulling and sewing. Pulling the elastic to its max and continuing on the process all the way around. For the wrist, you are going to take the end of the hands. You're going to fold it as so. Then you will just sew all the way across. Now for the wrist part, you are going to just take the elastic, measure it around your child's wrist, cut that piece out. Make sure you cut double for both hands. Then you are going to feed it inside of here. Once you get to the end, make sure you stitch it up so it does not escape. Once you're done with that, now you're going to sew from the wrist all the way to the armpit. Only under the armpit. The side that is not sewn, you're only sewing from the wrist to the armpit. But the side that's already sewn, you're going to sew that all the way and close it. So that will make it one side of the dress will be completely sewn. The other side will only be sewn from the wrist to the armpit. So from the armpit and down should be open from the other side. And the reason for that is because we're going to add the elastic here and it will be easier if it's open. So what you're going to do now is just flip the dress over. You are going to find the markings that we have did earlier and you're just going to place the elastic there. Sew 2 to 3 stitches across so it can be held in place. Then what you're going to do is just the same thing we did to the elbow area. You're just going to stretch the elastic to its max and then continue to sew. Stretch it, continue to sew. That will give it the best gather effect, and you're going to do that all the way around. Once you're done, you should have something like this, stretchy here, and then we also got the stretch in the elbow and also stretch on the wrist. Once my daughter tried it, it looked nice, but then I was like, it looks similar to another dress that I have made her earlier, so I want to make her something different. So what we're going to do is take one side off. We're going to use these sides here as an indicator, and you can choose whichever one, but whichever side you decide to take off, that will be the back, and the side that has the elastic, that will be the front. Using a seam ripper to rip out all of the elastic to the dress. Be very careful not to rip the fabric. Then we're gonna go ahead and cut off the excess elastic out. And once you cut it off, make sure you sew maybe 2 to 3 stitches on the end of each elastic so they don't also come apart. It should look something like this. The back side has no elastic and the front side has elastic. Now for the extra piece of the elastic, we're going to connect it to the front part of the neck. Now make sure you are connecting it on the inside, not the outside, because I am holding the dress on the outside, but connect it on the inside. And you will follow the same process you did for the elbow and the middle of the dress. Stitch it, hold it in place, stretch the elastic to its max, and just continue to sew until you get to the end. Remember, you are only sewing one side of the neck, the front side, not the back. Once you are done, you should have something that looks like this. You are all done. You have the elastic on the wrist, the elbow, the chest, and the neck. And this is the full dress. If you love the results, like, share, and subscribe for more.